It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Schick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well,
That's
thanks.
good.
Much better.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Oh, man. 2 weeks, huh?
2 whole weeks.
Yeah. First, I'd like to say, Thomas, I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better, and we're all back together. Yay.
You say this as I myself to blow my nose, so there you go.
Because it coughs his lung up, you know.
I just want to say,
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
it's something,
Let me
it's
put you on
including
the spot
something we
there.
don't have as a team here. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, man.
But thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of anything for 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I have, but nothing you guys want to hear. You guys heard about a lot of that pre-show. No, I've been watching a lot of Christmas stuff. I don't know why. It's like torture, I know, but
It's for some of us, maybe, but I don't know. If you
Yeah,
enjoy
for
it,
some-
you do your thing.
well, I find when I get in a funk, I gravitate towards, I need something funny, because I tend to watch a lot of dark stuff, me, no.
Wait, what?
But it was so unheard of.
Shocking.
So if I get into a funk, it's kind of like maybe I shouldn't go watch, Hack and Slack. And I tend to go to the other spectrum. So I've been watching a lot of Christmas stuff. I don't know. I remember as a kid, it seemed like every Christmas they had something new that year. They were going to show you some cartoon, some TV special or something like that. And watching the newer, for one, there's not a lot of newer stuff out. I'm talking animation wise. There's not a lot of newer stuff out. It's kind of sad because it even appears like Disney is recycling their holiday stuff, which is really weird for them. A holiday, they usually drive you insane with the little clips in between everything, and it's all stuff from last year. So it's kind of like the networks have kind of given up on Christmas this year, or as far as anything new.
See,
of
I remember
course-
seeing commercials on at least 2 different networks for new shit this year.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
don't ask me what they were, because as soon as I heard Christmas, I tuned out. But
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
at least CBS had something, and I want to say NBC maybe did too. And they're probably long gone by now. I don't know. They probably already did them, but
I think the last new Christmas thing I remember was Prep and Landing, and Disney did that on, was it NBC?
Disney was.
I think
the
it was
ABC.
NBC. Yeah, one of the 2 big networks like that, or whichever one they own. They don't own all of them, but
Yeah.
They're getting there.
And then the following year they put out a
Every time.
second one to that, and that one was really cute. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing the new stuff because I'm not watching the networks on TV. Usually if I'm watching them, I'm streaming it, or other than when the baby's here and we watch all the the kid channel stuff. But even like her little shows that she watches, they haven't really done a lot for Christmas either. And I know, I mean, as we're recording, this is the 12th, but I know they've still got a few more weeks, but usually by this point, they have like hammered us over the head with fa la la la, so I'm just kind of surprised that I'm not seeing it a lot on TV. I've actually had to look for things. But after saying that, I was watching Elf for the 50th time this year. This month, I should say. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's just stupid funny, It's one of those you don't really have to think to watch, if that makes sense.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly.
Hold your tongue, Mikey.
Yeah. The jokes are kind of laid out for it. You don't have to think about it. So I was watching it, and at 11 o'clock, The Year Without a Santa Claus came on. And that's actually kind of what spurred this rant. And, for one, it's 11 o'clock at night, and it's on AMC. So it's kind of like, that's kind of weird. This is the Walking Dead network, and we've got Year Without a Santa Claus.
Oh, they used to do shit like that all the time before The Walking Dead. That's what they were for the most part.
True. That is true. But yeah, I was just kind of surprised to see it there so late too.
That is a lot.
I could have imagined trying to ask my mom and dad if I could have stayed up till 11 o'clock to watch Santa Claus. You can stay up and pray that long, but not for Santa Claus.
I'm sure they would have enjoyed you asking if you could stay that late for Living Dead or something like that.
True. Well, Dad was kind of weird. Dad didn't mind horror, which was, I think that's where my love for horror came from. Well, other than childhood. I think that's where my love from horror came from, because I remember being a little kid and them, cover your eyes, they're naked kind of thing. So, but 11 o'clock, that was too much. That was pushing the line. Only bad girls are up past 11 o'clock, So,
and you're like, okay.
Yeah. And
you got
the
a
problem
list?
here, either in here or in my room, But watching Year Without a Santa Claus, it kind of, they don't make them like they used to. I'll put it that way. I know a lot of people, they don't enjoy the older animation, and to me, it's crazy. To look at it today, you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of sloppy. Look at the year it was made. I mean, the year, I don't remember off the top of my head the year that was made. But at the time, to do that kind of animation style and everything else, for one, that was kind of unheard of. They were still kind of playing with it with Rudolph and that kind of stuff. But when this one came along, I don't know. Even by today's standards, some of the things they did was kind of like, wow,
Liz,
and it's a different kind of story.
It is 48 years old.
48 years old. So it was made before I was born. Yeah.
74.
Yep. So, I mean, and think it that long ago. Wow. Can you imagine how long that took them to make? I think
48 years by the sound of it.
Yeah.
That depends on what sweatshop they're doing it in.
Right. Yeah, I stayed up way too late watching that one, and it's like, I don't care what's coming on next. But then it was Elf again, so it was like,
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
51, here we go.
An interesting bit of trivia, that was Shirley Booth's final acting credit before retirement.
Huh. Was she Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus?
She was Mrs. Claus, yeah.
And also, we got a little bit more in-depth look at Heat Miser and Cold Miser. That was kind of cool, especially as a kid watching them too. It was kind of like, wow, So, but yeah, I liked that one. And if you think of all the things that were out during that time, it kind of, it's a different kind of Santa Claus story. He's sick and Mrs. Claus has got to take over. That's kind of Santa Claus is the star of Christmas, so kind of a different story, but it was pretty cool because it kind of showed you the other characters of Christmas, But yeah, other than that, like I said, that's what I've been looking for that I'm not seeing on TV is the older stuff, some of the newer stuff, even the newer cartoons. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's like they've dumbed it down really, really, really far for our kids today.
I don't know. It's like they've been, let's see, maybe recycling material for 120 years.
Well, yeah, but
maybe.
It's like today they go for the easy, fart joke or, it's just, I know it's for kids, And like I said, I've watched kids for most of my life, so I've, watched it come up. But
the easy, stupid, funny, you mean like Elf? Shots fired.
Right. I need some burn cream over here.
I'm just jerking your chain, right?
See, maybe our stuff was so complex. That's why I like stupid, is because I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, complex.
That's
Christmas
my story, and I'm
stories,
sticking to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they didn't have very much material back then to go from other than what is Christmas, Santa Claus and Rudolph and the Snowman, and they went from there, but
they made it up.
I don't know.
I mean, that's part of it was, I mean, they were, some of the stuff, back at the beginning, they were kind of making stuff up as they went.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how traditions happen anyway.
Right.
If you just to go into it a little bit. Yeah, I mean.
And to me, like I'm saying though, I think the older ones hit more of the feeling and what Christmas is and everything else than some of this newer stuff does.
Sure.
Some
and
of this
sure
newer
skill is part of the issue too. I mean.
Oh yeah.
They were. I don't want to say they were better than. I'm just maybe better. Well, and the part of the catch there is that the better stuff from back then is what has lasted this long.
Yes. So, and still iconic today.
I'm sure there was crap made too, but that didn't get recorded and that didn't get reprocessed like the good stuff did.
It got re-recorded over.
Just a thought.
But yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I enjoy the classics. I wish they did a TV station with the classic stuff like that. I know you have like TMC and that kind of stuff who does the older Christmas movies right now, but I want to see the older kid stuff right now. They do it on the radio for songs. They should be able to do it on all this streaming stuff for kids Christmas. How much could a month or two of streaming cost?
You tell us.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who owns what rights and all that kind of stuff, too.
That's true. Which we went into last year about the whole Peanuts thing and how that's just, I don't know, kind of icky. But I will say Apple has made those cartoons. I mean, you do have to have Apple TV, but they have made them very accessible and you can watch them there round year and everything else. They had only planned to do it for Christmas, so I'm glad they changed their minds at least on that. It's still a paywall, but, that's today.
It's all about the paywall.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess that's how I'll finish my week out, too, is my Christmas stuff and... I don't know.
Your 52nd,
trying to find
53rd, and 54th viewings of Elf. And...
Right. If it's on, I can't change it. It's just one of those kind of shows, It's meant to be.
Here you go, Liz. In 2022, agreement between Warner Brothers and NBC Universal was made to release the complete Rankin Bass Christmas collection is a 9-disc DVD box set with a 24-page booklet and special features. The box set features 18 specials comprising every standalone Rankin Bass produced Christmas special aside from Santa Baby. So there you go.
Santa Baby.
Wow.
Probably because they don't have the rights to it.
Yep. I'd like that. I know I went and bought the Peanuts collection. I don't know how many times I've bought the Peanuts collection, but it's kind of one of those things, when I was watching Ellis, she got a set, and now the baby's got a set, and it was just part of, I don't know, it's part of your childhood, and it's nice to see, especially like your grandbaby come along and share that with you too and like it. Because some stuff we watch, and she's like, this is not cool, Mimi. Wow, okay.
She doesn't sugarcoat much, does she?
No, she doesn't. We won't watch My Little Ponies today. Damn it. Cocomelon, yay.
And the reason why Santa Baby's not on there is it's yet to receive official home release. Believe it or not.
Really?
Huh.
That's what I'm
Which
reading
one
here.
was Santa Baby
How long
about?
ago was that?
I have no idea.
Where if this brings up Mariah Carey, I'm going to scream on mic.
I don't think so. I think it's way before Mariah Carey. Also, that wasn't Mariah Carey. But anyway.
You know the internet today.
Yeah, I remember the lawsuit about that song, but anyway.
What is it, Larkin?
Sorry? Rankin Bass.
Rankin, yeah.
We're sitting here listening while she's putting it on her wish list. I mean, come on.
Right.
I found it.
See? There we go.
Okay. From what I saw of the clip of it, it's got a cat in it. And I know this is going to sound so stupid, but I don't remember the cat, and that's something I would. So I don't think I've seen this one.
You might
I
not
will put a
either.
link
It might
in
not be available.
Yeah.
I mean, at least not.
I mean, if it's not being put out for home release, it probably hasn't been aired since the original date.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you don't remember it. It probably hadn't been shown except for the one time. True.
Or on special collect. Well, no, because they can't collect it now. I guess it hasn't been.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if it hadn't been released, then yeah, it's not part of any collections. So.
Oh, cool. I'll make sure that gets put in the show notes. I'll send it to you now. While it's in there. Yeah, that's about it. So now I have something to watch after this.
Yay, we saved her from yet another watching of Elf.
Although,
right.
One last thing. Have any of you guys watched Wednesday yet on Netflix?
I've watched a couple of episodes.
Do you like it, or?
Yeah, it's fun.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep hearing good things about it.
Yeah.
I do too. I at first I heard it kind of got off to a rough start.
Yeah.
And then now it's like I think it's like the second most watched thing on Netflix ever. So, good. I'm kind of weird. I haven't watched Jensen's new show yet either. It's kind of like you hate to see your favorite fail. You know, you don't want to be a part of that. So
that's it. We're telling him.
But some of the clips I've seen come out of it have been amazing, and it's like I really need to watch this. I really need her freaking wardrobe too. So, but I shared a song.
Into black.
Yeah, at most like 80% of my clothes. But yeah, I shared a song in Discord earlier with I guess she's a cello player in this now, and she did an instrumental of Paint It Black. It's probably my favorite song right now.
It's a good version, but it goes on for frickin' ever. They play it twice.
They do play it twice. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why they did that. I mainly wanted to see the dance that she did with that song, because it's like all over TikTok and people have been talking about it and everything else. And it's like, well, I want to see her do it. I don't care if Lady Gaga does it. I want to see, her do it.
And she does. In the clip she showed, she was dancing.
Yeah.
The reason why they played it twice is because they didn't want to do it a third time.
Oh, man.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. And on that note.
I'm sorry, that was weak, but go ahead.
You should talk.
What?
What? Anything else?
No, that's it. Now I guess I've got 2 things I can watch now. I'm still waiting on Phil to start Yellowstone. Never again.
You said that last time, too.
Right, I did. Yeah, that's me. Yay.
Oh, is that all? Gosh. I don't have anything exciting anyway. I was about 10% of the reason we didn't record last week. I don't want to steal Tom's thunder or anything, but if we hadn't delayed a day because of me, we probably would have gotten the recording in before you got sick. So anyway, I had a bad weekend last weekend. That was the worst migraine I've had in a while, for sure. I spent most of the day with my eyes closed.
Oh, man.
And I mean, I don't
Well,
like.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh yeah, much better. But yeah, that was rough. I got a little dehydrated.
Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
I got a little dehydrated that day because water was making me nauseous. I mean, everything was making me nauseous, but yeah, that's usually my big go-to sign that it's a migraine is I don't get nauseous for anything unless I have a migraine. So, yay. And I hadn't done a ton the week before that, and it actually kept me from doing much of anything until like the middle of last week. So, I mean, I kept up with everything I needed to watch, but I certainly haven't gotten ahead on it. So, kind of boring.
But if you maintain your watching, you're okay.
Yep. I am caught up. I mean, Liz wouldn't think I'm caught up yet, but I am caught up to where I wanted to be. To where I expected to be, anyway. I'm getting there, Liz. I'm getting there. I haven't watched any of Jensen's show yet either, surprisingly. So,
What?
I know, right?
Sacrilegious.
Uh-huh.
Who'd have thunk it?
Says the fan who hasn't been watching the show either, so,
Well, I had good reason.
Yeah.
Did you now?
Fan, air quotes.
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm still working on my homework for Liz, and after that, I will then have opportunity to skip watching Jensen's new show. But anyway.
Find a new reason not to.
Oh, yeah. I could come up with 1 million of them.
So how far along are you?
I have watched 6 episodes. Yeah, but that's all we're talking about it. We're not talking about it no more. I'm 6. Okay. I will start episode 7.
You're almost done then.
Yeah. Only 2 left.
Yep. Which actually, the only thing I'll say is the last 2 they should have played together because that was the finale. I think it took both of those to make the finale. So I think it was a 2-parter.
Maybe.
So, yeah. Ooh, you're at the finale.
I'm getting there. Coming soon.
See the finishing line.
Mm-hmm. Given what I just saw in episode 6, man, I'm curious to find out how we're going to get more finale than that. But anyway, we're not talking about it. We're not talking about
Yep.
it. Now you got me doing it. And it wasn't by you. I mean, now I'm doing it to myself.
Yeah. But yeah, I know what you're talking about, and that was kind of a, oh my God.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Well, cool.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right, Les.
I don't think I'm all that late to this party, but I just finished Inside Man on Netflix. Inside Man is a 4-episode program starring David Tennant and Stanley Tucci. I recommend this one. Like I said, it's 4 episodes, each about an hour long. So one sitting, you can do it. And
Just don't tell James Cameron.
A prison show? Or do I
It's a
have the wrong
prison
one?
show, yes.
Okay.
It's Stanley Tucci is a prisoner who is sitting on death row, but he is also somebody that can solve mysteries. And he can do it from his jail cell. He's that good. Now, this is written and created by Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, just now seeing that.
And when I saw that was one of the things that brought me into this. But then I thought about it, and I thought, it's David Tennant, so I can understand Moffat being involved. Or I can see Tennant being involved because Stephen Moffat is the creator.
Yeah, haven't they worked together before?
2 or 5 times, yeah. So it's really well done. It's tight. It's suspenseful. Not to the point where gunplay is involved or anything like that, though. It's just tightly written, and to me it was superbly acted. It was so much fun. And get to the point where you're going, oh my God, is this going to happen? Type situations. So, yeah, I'm on board with this. I doubt seriously that they will have a second series, because it's not that it ended in the way that it couldn't, but I could see why they would not want to. So that's been about my week of watching, just enjoying all of that. And yeah, to me, it's something that they should consider for Emmys, things like that.
Well, you sell it well.
Yeah, you do.
Well, thanks.
I've had it, Mark.
I hope you folks will venture into it too, because I'd like to see your reaction to some of this.
See, something else to watch before the Winchester.
Yeah. There we go. I've just been so busy, man.
Further and further away from the boy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll break this habit yet.
Yeah. Well,
this is the intervention. There you go. This is the intervention.
It would be different if he was like a regular on the show, but he's not. So I've seen all the boys and Big Sky and everything else that he's a regular on, but although this is just his voice, so
Is he the narrator or something?
he is, yeah.
Ooh.
And I think they show him like at the beginning of the episode, like writing in his journal or something. I don't know.
Dear Diary. That day I killed another bad guy.
Yeah. Still can't find Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently he was. No, don't go there, Liz. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Save us, Tom.
I've been sick.
Fly ball.
Well, then to fill
Caught.
his time.
No, I honestly didn't have anything because I had been sick, but I am doing better. Thank you for asking. So, yeah. Oh well. I mean, these things happen.
Yeah.
They do.
I mean, if anything, I've been watching a lot more of the different streams for the Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil and Me, and apparently there is what they call a curator's cut, which is like, I guess, a special. I don't know if it's a DLC or whatever, but it was an option that you could buy, or if you can pre-order. And the thing is it has certain scenes from a different perspective, which actually answer some of the questions that you might have when you're playing. Like there's, I won't go into anything really spoilers, but there is one scene where one character is hearing a voice from one of the other characters, and you're going, why are we hearing that voice? Well, this shows you. This shows you how that came about. So that's kind of cool. And now I don't know if that's going to be made available down the road for everybody else, since this was a pre-order thing. But
I bet they'll do it for like a collected.
Yeah, probably that.
Edition.
Yeah, when they release the extended dance cut mix version of the game or whatever.
Well, that way the pre-order, they still got it for free. So now if you want it, you have to pay for it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and give it some
Which
time
is fair.
so that the people who got it before can enjoy
Get
it
the
and do
value.
their thing with it right before.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they spent the additional money for it. They give them the chance to enjoy it. So I totally agree.
I like when they do that though, because sometimes when you watch that kind of thing, it's kind of like, oh wow, I completely missed that, and it was something I was supposed to catch, or So I like when they do that.
Yeah, because when you're watching, there's like certain things that are said or done, and you're going, why? And now with this cut, now you can see why. I mean, and another one was like another thing. Like I said, I won't go into spoilers. Saying there was some regret about an action that was done or not done. I'm gonna be as vague as I can. Mm-hmm. And you're going, okay, I don't understand why that's being said. And then you watch this curator's cut, you see what was going on, you go, oh, okay. Once again, things starting to click, because there's stuff you're just not seeing. You're not seeing it, which is, it's like you said, it's a nice little. You spent the it's a bonus. It's basically bonus content.
Yeah.
So.
And crazy. It's also why I leave closed captioning on when I watch TV shows and stuff. Sometimes your closed captioning will fill you in on things you didn't hear.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Well.
Get the whole story.
For the most part, most of the people who stream these games have used the closed captions, and bless them for doing that. And sometimes probably because they're not understanding some of the stuff that's being said too, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
for you watching it, you're going, okay, that's what's being said, because I misheard that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I remember on Sons of Anarchy, they were having, there was two people in the main scene having a conversation, but outside there was another conversation happening where it was kind of, just watching it, you couldn't hear what they were saying. It was all muffled, but closed captioning told you everything that was being said outside too.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, that's how she knew, so sometimes they, I don't know if they just don't mean for you to hear that, but I don't know. Fills in a lot of clues.
I don't know, but I would like to watch some of the other games from this franchise. It's kind of hard to do, except for going to like YouTube and watching some of the game playthrough, which I did with the first one, which I think is Man from Maiden, Maden. There was a part one, and I probably got about an hour or so through it before I was like, I need to move on and do something else right now. It was a 4-hour. Part one was 4 hours.
Oh,
Over
wow.
4 hours. So these are long games.
Mm.
Yeah, if you're going to go through, and then if you want to go look around and try to find all the stuff you're supposed to find, all the Easter eggs and bits of treasure and all that kind of stuff. Now you're talking about 10, 11. So yeah,
Yeah.
these can be long games.
Huh.
But I'm digging Devil in Me. I guess I'm not sure what it is. Why it's just because it's an interesting story, and I guess
Yeah.
and one of the major complaints I've heard about it is like, why aren't these people? I mean, it's a group of 5. Why aren't they going after the killer? It's 5 against 1. I'm like, have you ever seen a horror movie before?
Right.
Especially a slasher film. When have they
Your
ever
first day here.
when have you ever seen anyone gang tackle Jason Voorhees? It doesn't happen. They say shit,
Yeah.
they shit, and then they run. That's pretty much what happens,
Well, it did happen to Michael, and it didn't work.
Yeah. But still,
At least not immediate.
Yeah.
Long term, it did, but.
So, and I think I've seen most of the possible endings. I mean, there's one major ending where, some number of the survivors remain, of the cast remains, but there's also an alternate ending, but it's going to depend on who actually survives and if you hit the right special features and that kind of stuff for that to open. That one's totally messed up. But yeah, I'll tell you off recording. So, but it does look like it's a slow burn, and I've seen some complaints about that. It's like, well, not much is going on. It's like you're building things up. You're trying to understand first of all these characters.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to what they're wanting to do, and then try to understand the story. And it seems like some of these people who are playing it and streaming it, they don't want to take the time to hit the bits and pieces so you can figure out what the characters are dealing with and what you're playing against. And then they're like, well, I don't understand what's going on. It's like there is a reason. There's a reason. You're not wanting to do what the developers were wanting you to do. It's not just try to keep them alive. It's try to figure out the mystery.
Yeah.
Right, you have to engage the story.
Yeah. So, anyway, So yeah, that was the season 1 finale. So next year is going to be season 2 premiere entitled oh god, what was it? I am blanking right now.
Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, right. Directive 8020, which is actually a reference to a NASA directive involving dealing with
Aliens?
Yeah, interesting.
Uh-huh. So yeah, this is the first. This is going to be their first story in space. So, and that's another thing, because I mean, they're doing something different with each game, which is good. Change it up. You know, you don't want to be a carbon copy of what you did before.
Well, then you basically said that the word anthology was in the name, the title,
Right.
the overarching title. So
True, but
things need to be a little different.
Still, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Before we get into this week's discussion, I do want to point out that we do have a Discord.
We do.
Huh?
We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, fun stuff, videos, and all that kind of stuff. We'll have activities on there. You're more than welcome to come join us. Discord is free for sign up. The app is free in any app store. We do have an open invitation on our website, www.thefellowshipofgeeks.net. So if you like the show, like us, and want to hang out with us, someone's there usually all the time, at least one of us. Usually more likely two of us are there. So
That happens.
yeah. So come join us today.
Yeah, it's fun. TM.
It's fun. TM.
TM.
All right. Well, since we weren't able to do a show last week, we are combining discussion topics for this week. We are continuing our look at some classic, I guess you would want to call them classic Christmas specials. These are certainly older ones.
Classic is more polite than old as hell.
Yeah. So, with this one, we are discussing from it was originally aired in 1978 in Canada, and then in 1979 on HBO. Rich Little's Christmas Carol, and we're also talking about, I guess, from 1981, Freddy the Freeloader's Christmas Dinner. Some of the younger people in our audience probably are not going to know those names at all, and I get that. So I knew that might be a little bit of a problem. But let's go ahead and discuss these specials. I believe Les wanted to talk about Rich Little's Christmas Carol first. Let's go ahead and do that then.
Okay. Let's take a look. Rich Little was an impersonator who did a multitude of voices and characters. Pulling upon their usually their movie personas. And in this one, we had the age-old story of Ebenezer Scrooge being visited by 4 ghosts, and in so doing, came to the realization that he was not a nice person. He mended his ways. And in this, Little was capable of getting personas across that fit the characters being questioned at the time, which was pretty nice. It was fun to watch his various people. The Scrooge character was W.C. Fields. Bob Cratchit was Paul Lynde. Two people that came to ask Scrooge for money were Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel. The nephew of Scrooge was Johnny Carson, and the list goes on. Little was able to hit everybody equally and on target. At this time, his main competitor was Frank Gorshin, who was a noted impersonator also. I would say that Little had more range than Gorshin, but both were equally amusing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only problem I had with this was the laughter. There were times it was canned laughter. There were times it was audience laughter. But both times it was horrible laughter.
Yeah.
And hopefully my colleagues will attest to that too. But it was enjoyable. Being able to see someone go through the roles that he did was, to me, is really good. And personally, I would grade him almost as good as seeing the one-man show Macomber, which was Macbeth with all of the characters from The Simpsons playing the parts. A one-man show.
Wow.
And in this, the other thing that bothered me about this was it was so dated because the references for politics at the time were pretty thick. And it relied on Richard Nixon as Marley, and the fact that they had to keep bringing up the 18 and a half minutes or I am not a crook ideas. So there's where they kind of lost me.
Well, and you mentioned that, and it's strange that, well, this is 79, so okay. I was about to say I don't know why he didn't do Reagan, but Reagan wasn't even in office yet.
Yeah, he hadn't been elected yet.
No, this was 78. So.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean,
and made in Canada, so
true. Well,
I mean, which I thought was a little bit weird.
Well, but Rich Little always did Reagan impersonations, but
sure.
And speaking about the celebrities that he did, I was thinking about this because I watched these when they were originally aired back in the early 80s. But watching it again for doing this, I was thinking if someone 20, 30 years younger than us watch this, they're not going to know most of these people.
Nope, they are not.
They're not going to, because I sat there and I'm like, okay, who of these characters, these celebrities, or will they not know? Well, first off the bat was Truman Capote. They probably wouldn't know him.
True. No pun intended.
Possibly all the comedic actors. I mean, you mentioned W.C. Fields, Laurel and Hardy, Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde, they would probably know from Bewitched. Maybe
And Hollywood Squares, right?
Yeah. But Bewitched would be more likely since that's shown everywhere, every day. Yeah. Hollywood Squares, maybe not as much. Johnny Carson may be kind of iffy. I know we talked about him earlier in the year, but still.
Yeah, but we're funny like that.
Yeah. George Burns.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They would know John Wayne.
They would know John Wayne. They would more than likely know Peter Falk as Columbo. Because that's still being shown today.
Yeah.
They probably know Inspector Clouseau.
Inspector Clouseau, they would probably know Edith Bunker, which was funny how she was credited as Edith Bunker, but not Jean Stapleton. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like, okay. I'm not saying that as to be negative or anything. It was just a thought that came to me. It's like, who someone younger than us would be watching this going, I have no clue who this is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that, like Les was saying, that's a lot of what dates it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was not meant to have a shelf life. I actually never thought that Rich Little's work had much of a shelf life. I will be the unpopular one. I didn't particularly ever find Rich Little all that funny. I thought he was really good at the voices, but I never really found his act all that amusing.
Yeah.
So for me, this was interesting, but yeah, again, it didn't land all that well for me anyway. I mean, I don't speak for anybody else. And yeah,
Right.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Les. The laugh track was killing me the whole time. It was just utterly awful.
Well, I'm going to kind of side with you too. This one I didn't particularly care for either. I'm not 20, 30 years younger than you guys, but I didn't know some of the people he was doing. Impressions was dead on. I did enjoy that. I just didn't enjoy the story too much. I guess maybe I've seen it so many times that it's, even with that twist that he put on it, just wasn't, I don't know. Not saying it's a bad show or anything else. It wasn't my cup of tea on this one.
Fair enough.
Yeah, A Christmas Carol isn't funny. And unfortunately,
No.
Rich Little didn't make it so either. So, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought the Tiny Tim, I thought that was Elton John. So I was way off on that one.
Come on, we've made you watch Murder by Death before.
Yeah.
You've seen Truman Capote.
I have, but I didn't connect him to
Right.
that. Maybe it was the pink sunglasses and everything. Elton John popped in there and I was like, okay.
Yeah, clearly they worked with the same stylist. I don't know.
Right.
I can see
my
where you came
favorite
with
was
that. Yeah.
The Gene Stapleton. I loved that impression. That was dead on.
Actually, I have to say, if I had to pick a favorite of the voices, I would pick Jack Benny. He just does a really good Jack Benny.
He did.
And to put him in that spot, in that place, that was just, I don't know, that was just fun.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of that part.
He did a really good Carson too.
Oh, he always
I
did.
had to check to make sure that wasn't like a younger Carson, you know.
No. He would do that on Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I'm not sure, but I think he might have actually hosted or done the monologue once for him as him.
Oh, wow.
I'm not 100% sure of that. Don't quote me, but
I think he did, but I'm not 100% sure myself.
Yeah, just even the mannerisms, how he was standing there and everything else was like perfect Carson.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Rich Little was really good at what he did.
Yeah.
He
Like I
did
said,
the impressions really well.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the impressions because, like I said, it was kind of neat to kind of figure out who he was doing, but like I said, the story just kind of lost me.
Yeah, I don't think it added anything. It wasn't. I'm not sure exactly
Yeah.
where I'm trying to go with it, but
Made it
I don't think
Christmas
it.
themed.
Yeah, I don't think it fit the story particularly well.
Yeah.
I don't think this was the right material to do this with.
But I did like when he was like 3 spirits, make it vodka, scotch, and gin. It was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, that was.
That's the
Yeah,
three I want to be visited by too.
I thought W.C. Fields was an odd choice for that too. I mean, it worked, and he kept it up the whole time, and
Yeah.
he did it well.
Yep.
But I thought that was an odd choice for Scrooge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't awful.
No, it
I don't know
wasn't
that,
awful.
I don't know that I go back to it because again, it's so far dated. But I mean,
Right.
I'm not mad I watched it.
I mean, you watched it, so we'll move on.
We did our part. The rest is up to you.
Well, speaking of moving on, why don't we go ahead and talk about Freddy Freeloader's Christmas Dinner, which is a special that starred Red Skelton. This is one of his many characters that he created. Also included Vincent Price. Hey, one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I was actually
And
kind of a surprise on this one. I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
And Imogen Coca.
Mm.
So let's talk about this one.
Okay, this one I liked a lot better. I'm familiar with Red Skeleton, so I'm not completely familiar with all of his work, but what I have seen of it, he's funny. I guess he's my kind of funny. This and they started the show off with a dog. Okay, you've got my attention.
Right. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We lost
Lordy.
one.
Dog in a little costume. Yeah, you got my attention. But there was just so many jokes in there that I was laughing the whole time. It was a sweet story. A guy who has nothing is giving up everything he has. You know, that's always sweet. So it was nice at the end to see it come back around, you know, especially on Christmas. But yeah, Vincent Price and him, you could tell they were feeding off each other. It was a great performance. The whole end of the show with them two together was the best. Although the Santa Claus, or I'm sorry, was he Robin Hood pretending that was the worst? Yeah. Yeah, I liked this one. Like I said, the jokes hit, the story was cute, it had a good point behind it, and it all happened because why? Because the little dog. So of course I love that came back around.
Okay.
That's why you're nice to animals. You never know.
Which would have worked fine if the dog had been at the restaurant at the end,
That would have been cute.
as opposed to
Yeah.
just its owners.
Yeah. But I'd buy somebody dinner for giving my dog back. I don't know if I would have handed them as much money as she did, but, you know, I'd buy you dinner.
Most expensive place in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he picked up Professor, I was blown away when I saw it was Vincent Price. I didn't know that he was in this. So to see him, it was like, oh, hey, yeah. And it was nice to see him kind of funny and laid back and not so intense and serious. So I liked this. I really enjoyed this one. But it's not a kids show by any means. They mentioned several times Santa not being real, and of course booze and gel, and like the last one's not a kids show. Not if you're that kind of family.
Yeah, for
Maybe
different
that's why I
reasons,
had
but yeah.
CDs. But yeah, I liked it.
This was also an HBO special. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
See, I checked to see if Rich Little was on there with that special, and he's not. Let me see if this one is.
Oh, on whatever the artist known as,
Max,
formerly known as HBO Max.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a lot of money to say, we don't know what we're doing.
At least they're consistent.
Oh.
Freddy Freeloader is not on HBO. Which is weird because they've brought a lot of their holiday classics back right now. So.
A forgotten classic.
Mm. Well, we're doing our part.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Keeping it there.
Les, your thoughts?
He didn't like it.
Wow.
That's just the way this has worked.
Thanks, Liz. Good night, everybody. Let's see, this one. I grew up with Red Skelton for many years. Red Skelton had a Christmas show every year. I believe what we watched was one of his TV shows. This I know was done for HBO, but I believe it was originally done on CBS. And the reason I picked this second is because this hit all points with me. Sorry, Liz. But I'm watching this once again got me on the verge of tears because I remember the original and how it was played. This one affected me similarly. I thought it was so well done, written and directed by Skelton. Once again, the laughter was pitiful in this one also. I believe if you were to find the episode in which this was done on television, the laughter would have been much more and much stronger and real, because Skelton did not have the laugh track. He was in front of a live audience. This one was so much fun. And I know that Imogene Coca was only on there for 5 minutes. And Vincent Price was on there for not much more than that. Granted, he shared the screen, but him just being there as a presence was the strong point. And we had seen Vincent Price do comedy before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Dr. Goldfoot or whatever it was.
Yep.
He did, 2 of those movies?
He did.
And he had done, the Comedy of Terrors, I think was one of those.
Yep.
But this to me was the crown jewel of what we have just watched for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
This was the one that took me back a long ways. This is before my three colleagues were even born. Watching Red Skelton and his various characters. Maybe next year we'll think about Jackie Gleason in one of these episodes, because he played various characters also, and he could pull it off. But I want to thank Thomas for bringing this one up, because, like I said, this was the highlight of this seasonal watch. And as a result, I started looking on YouTube and started watching Skelton again and again, and just taking them all in.
Yeah. Yeah, it was when I went back to watch this one for the first time in forever. It just hits all the right notes.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely get the vibe, the kind of the Christmas Yuletide, vibe that we're supposed to have this time of year. Just the sequence of him at the entertaining the children at the hospital, that was great.
Yes.
But that's pure Skelton. Yeah, and it was great to see Price and Coca in there too. It makes you wish Vincent Price had more opportunities to do comedies, even more as a comedic than, oh, I'm the bad guy, but just something. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Not so intense.
Right.
Yep.
Because even in some of the comedies, he was the bad guy, so he was still kind of. But that wasn't the case of this one. He was just So, yeah, this one needs to be shown. People need to see this one because it's a missing classic.
It is.
It's one that people. I can't imagine anyone looking at this, watching this, and going, "This is horrible."
Right.
I don't like this. I'm sure there's someone out there.
Don't do that in my presence.
So, it's a nice little tale. And like I said, it hits all the right notes.
It does.
And it doesn't feel hokey, which some, even when they hit the notes, you're just going, oh, you're there, but still, you don't even have that with this.
Well, you see it coming. With him, he's so smooth that it just rolls. You don't know. You don't see it coming.
Yeah.
So when he lays that line on you, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And him and Vincent Price broke the fourth wall. I thought that was cute too. So.
Yeah.
And speaking of notes, I want to go back to the first one and say, I know now why Rich Little was a ventriloquist, because he sure as hell was nowhere near a singer.
Well.
I do think both of them could have did without a couple of songs or two, but that's Christmas specials.
Yeah. That's kind of expected, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You kind of get stuck in that variety TV show mentality that
Yeah.
was big in like the 60s and early 70s.
And yet, in Little's special, there was only one song sung by the cast members on stage. One. They had the scenes with the street and scenes with various people intertwined, but only one scene was with the cast singing while they were on site, on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when Ebenezer went to his nephew's place.
Yeah, at the end.
I'm glad I was not the only one to see that, because I was thinking about that and I thought, I wonder if anybody else sees this.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed them both. Preferred one.
Yeah.
But
Sure. Yeah, I'm just glad we got to crack that tough shell of yours again. I mean, when was the last time you talked about tears coming to your eyes? The Clockwork Orange? Oh no, wait, that was the guy in the movie. Never mind.
no, maybe Iron Giant.
Oh man, now I'm crying.
I think that's why he said that one.
I win. Once again, I win.
Always with that one, man. Although I heard in one of the new games that Disney's done, no, it's not Disney. It's the new one that DC's done, the multiverse thing.
Mm-hmm.
He will finally meet Superman. So it's like, oh, make me cry all over again.
Yeah, no, this is not right.
All right. Any final thoughts on our two specials? We'll try to put links in our show notes so y'all can check them out. They are on YouTube.
Yeah, they are on YouTube.
Are. Yep. No.
But I definitely enjoyed the Freeloader one.
Was...
They were both good. If you like impressions and stuff, Rich Little hit right there with you. But I kind of liked the sweet style that Skeleton added to this.
Yep. So, yep, definitely check them out. But we think you'll enjoy Freddy the Freeloader more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On that note, we'll take a quick break and be back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You segment. This is where we bring a couple items to the table for discussion. And for this week, it is Les and myself. And Les, would you like to go first?
Thank you, sir. I came across an article, which will be posted at the 48th Annual People's Choice Awards. The award for Best Movie was handed out, and it was not Top Gun Maverick, nor was it Black Panther Wakanda Forever. What does cheese the DC fans is that it was given not to the Batman, but to what they consider Sam Raimi's polarizing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I can understand the ire this was I'm going to say a gobbledygook of crap that they just said, we'll make a movie of this. And I know it's Sam Raimi, but they tossed it out there and thought, what we've done is just mind-blowing. To me, it was chunk-blowing. They passed on movies like Jordan Peele's Nope, which is a fantastic movie. Elvis, Jurassic World Dominion, and they even thought it was better, which isn't really a real stretch, for Thor, Love and Thunder, or as most call it, Thor and Love and Blunder. So the forces of the Batman was nominated, but it supposedly fell short. And because of what has happened in the MCU, they being Marvel and Disney, are going to look at what they've got in-house and what they are planning on for phases 5 and 6. To me, 4 has been just a pile, with movies like The Eternals. I don't know how that even gets recognition. To me, it was just something that was thought up. Let's toss 8 new or 12 new characters out there and see what happens. Not basing them on anything that Marvel has done previously. And I think Doctor Strange was similar in that respect, because they wanted to be edgy and move forward, but to me, they didn't do anything. So that's what I got to say about it.
In Multiverse of Madness, you didn't feel they did anything?
No. To me, no.
Yeah.
To me, they barely did anything with the Spider-Man movie, the last one.
Yeah, I didn't care for the last Spider-Man either. But this particular Doctor Strange, I loved it. Just for the visuals alone, I loved that movie. And the whole time, from the very first time that I saw Wanda on screen, it was like, man, it'd be really cool if they got Wanda to like totally freak out and do like a House of M kind of thing. And although it wasn't House of M kind of thing, she still freaked out. And, you know, I think what's happened here, in my opinion, I think Marvel fans have gotten so used to their characters on screen, and they don't know enough of their background. Wanda hasn't always been the goody-goody. I mean, she's gone evil, 4 or 5 times in the comics? So I think for us to see her finally make that change, it was kind of like, well, it's about time, you know. I mean, we needed to see this because that's part of who she is, you know. And even what the even what the Avengers questioned her on when they first found her. They had her locked up and, you know, segregated, and Vision had her under lock and key. So I I kind of enjoyed this. For one, it's Sam Raimi, but two, it kind of let her out of that box, that goody, Miss Perfect, do everything right box, And partly too, as a mother, I could totally feel where she was going. If I knew I had a kid out there and I couldn't have them, I would move heaven and hell to find them. And that's kind of what she did in this movie. She went easy at first because these were her friends and people she knew, but at the end it was, this is my kids. You can't tell me I can't have my kids. And in her mind, that's what they were telling. I mean, it is what they were telling her, but you can't do that because she couldn't separate. These aren't my kids. These are her kids in a different world. And so, yeah, I kind of liked this one. Plus just the style it had more of the horror elements to it. And I kind of liked it. But like I said, just for visuals alone, I think they should have won awards with that. The way they pieced that one scene together, that where he's falling through the multi dimensions, was just amazing. And I don't know if I find that stuff more fascinating because I work with, computer generated stuff more on hands like that. But to know the work and the thought that goes behind every second of a scene that was probably 2 or 3 minutes long. So, and this is a DC fan, guys. So it's a lot, but I actually liked this one out of, I hate to say all of them, but I think for me it was more visually appealing. I'm all about the visuals. But one thing I'd also like to point out, have you noticed the movies that do better at the box office are usually characters that people aren't really know too much about? They took a chance on Shazam, and they didn't even promote it very well. And then once people saw it, it was kind of like, whoa, shit, we didn't know this guy existed. I was hoping they would do the same thing with Black Adam, but that didn't happen. But I even think of Doctor Strange kind of as a B-list Marvel, not their A-list they put out there.
Well, I think Black Adam is good.
Yeah.
I think it was a strong show, and it's a shame that it supposedly didn't garner the admiration of a lot of fans.
Yeah, it didn't hit the way they wanted it to.
No. And that's a shame because to me it's had a big story and it had a good background for it. They didn't just spring it and say this is Black Adam. No, they kind of built it up.
Yeah.
And
of course you had Rock out there totally building it up. Which could have also, it could have worked negatively. People may have gotten tired of the way he was doing it, And then you found out about the claws that he has. It's kind of, you've told me how the movie ends already without even, if you have the I can't die clause, then you know how the movie's going to end. He can't die. He's going to win then, So.
Or stalemate.
A stalemate.
It is.
It could be one of those that he is defeated at the end, but the next movie he redeems himself, just like in the comics.
True.
That was not the case here, though.
The talent needs to take their hands off the script. You know? Let the guys who get paid to make that story, let them have that freedom, and then put your hands on it and put your spin to it. But like I said, I didn't know about that clause of no death until I think Thomas, you said something, and it's kind of like that's bunk. No superhero should be safe, or that's the opinion you should go into a movie with. But yeah, I'm also hoping that even if it doesn't do well at the box office, once it's released on streaming and stuff, it'll find its footing, that it'll find its place in the DCU.
Yeah, let's see what happens, because Black Adam's supposed to be hitting the streaming service here like real soon, maybe even by the time this episode drops, or not too far away. So
Yeah.
Because there are some people I'm one of these. I was interested. Yeah, the whole Dwayne, just every day, it's got to be something about Black Adam. He's so great. Da 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 da. And then the worst part was he started bringing up Superman, which got everybody going. Why is this coming up? So basically, he ruined one of the biggest spoilers of the movie. Way to go, idiot!
Right.
That should have had everybody going. I mean, people were hooting and hollering because, of course, that's all that hit YouTube once the movie came out, was that reaction. But it's like, It should have been a complete surprise. And I think I pointed something out about this. I think I did this on the Discord. It's like, I know Lucasfilm, and I'm sure Marvel has a clause. It's a non-description, an NDA.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's amazing that we went through season 2 of Mandalorian, and then right there at the end, there's Luke Skywalker, and nobody spilled the frickin' beans until it came out. How in the hell was that able to happen?
Yeah.
Because how many people worked on that episode? And I'm not talking about people on the set and the costumers and the writers and we'll get and all that kind of, we're talking about on TV and editing and all that. That's a lot of people that saw that and kept quiet, or at least quiet enough that it didn't hit until the episode was shown.
Well, they did a behind the scenes with John how do you pronounce his last name?
Favreau.
And there's like 11 different directors on Mandalorian that all handle like different episodes and things. So that there's a lot of work that goes behind it. But he said that most of these people have asked him to work with him because they love the material. And I could see a surprise like that. It probably surprised them, and they wanted us to have that. So I could see them going, man, we'll cut your throat if you tell anybody, kind of thing, because that was something. I know I was, oh shit, I wasn't expecting it at all. So it was kind of nice that it wasn't spoiled. But I'm also one of those weirdos that before the new season comes out, I'll go in and block Mandalorian on my computer just so I don't see spoilers and,
See,
all that.
maybe if Warner Brothers owned several hundred acres of deep swampland in Florida, they could persuade people like Disney that they could disappear their asses into that.
Right.
And so they wouldn't talk
They
about
will never
shit.
see you.
Right.
Those alligators we don't run off?
Maybe you're about to find out why.
They look pretty hungry today, don't they? But it is kind of nice, like I said, when they have that attitude of, we want to give this to you because it surprised us. Then you kind of value where they're coming from because they enjoy the source too,
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I mean,
that was surprising.
in his defense, I can understand because this was a dream project for The Rock, and I can see him. And a lot of what he was doing was because he's excited. He wanted it to do well. He was proud of what he'd done, and I don't fault him at all for that. I mean, that's great. That's that's stuff we like to see. We don't want to think about these actors just doing the job for the money. Although there are several of them that do that, and
they'll even tell you that.
Yeah, and that's okay too. But it also makes us feel good. It's like, okay, well they're so excited about their product.
Right. He's a fan like me.
He's a fan like he wants it to do well. Well, I want it to do well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And he was another one who claimed to understand the source, which of course any fan would appreciate. I think that's what drove most of us nuts, but I won't mention his name, was when he pretty much said, fuck canon, this is my shit. Well, no, we're not going to like that because, we got a few years invested into this guy,
Yeah.
It does matter.
Not your sandbox, but that's okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in regards to Phase 4, yes, I know Phase 4 has not been received well. I'm not going to try to completely defend it because, first of all, I have not seen a lot of it. And it's not that I don't want to or anything like that. It's just I hadn't. That's just a fact. That being said, first of all, you've got, after what had been built up the previous 10 years up to Endgame, anything after that is going to be a problem.
Yep.
Because we were 10 years invested into that conclusion. So anything after that is going to be somewhat of a letdown.
Right. A new start is always problematic.
Well, that's what I was about to say. For me, it died with Tony. I watched Spider-Man to kind of watch what the fallout from that kind of was. But that part of MCU died with Tony. That was, like you said, we invested so many years into that. And honestly, it was a good wrap up and ending. It put a bow on it. You're done. That was good.
But I also want to applaud them. However successful or unsuccessful they were, they tried different things.
Mm-hmm.
It blew my mind that they were going to do the Eternals movie. Yeah, it wasn't successful. It wasn't well received. I don't know why, because I hadn't seen it, so I can't say. But they freaking did an Eternals movie.
Yeah.
We're talking about Warner Brothers and DC. Well, every 3-4 years we'll just do a Batman film, or we'll do a Superman film, or it's going to be something like that. And we're going, we want something different. We want something different. Well, Marvel.
So when Shazam comes along,
so
are like,
yeah. So here's Marvel with Eternals, and everybody's going, why? Well, it's something different. What should they have done? I mean, that's exactly what Phase 4 has been. Is something a little different. Shang-Chi, different.
It's not their A-list.
Multiverse of Mad. It's different. It's basically.
And that was what, America in that one?
Yeah. So, we'll see. I mean, they've already got the message. They've already, like Les said, that they're both companies are going to kind of curtail and reevaluate, which is fine. That's great. That tells you they're listening to what's being said.
Yeah.
Although some of the voices shouldn't be saying anything because they're complaining about stuff that you go, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
And I won't go into the details, but I mean, if you see some of it, But bravo to them for noticing and acknowledging and doing what course corrections they can do. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if they're looking for a solution, I think DC just took a big step in finding their solution with bringing Gunn on, because he's known for grabbing those unknown guys and let's make them interesting, and everything he's done for them. I mean, Peacemaker's a #1 hit right now. How many people know about Peacemaker, you know?
Oh, nobody until his Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So I think Gunn is going to be a lot of the answer for DC. Not completely, but he's going to be a lot of their answer for this.
And we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that here in the not too distant future.
Mm-hmm. Teaser.
Spoilers.
And the other thing goes back to what I just said not even 2 minutes ago. He's listening to the fans.
He is.
You know.
And he knows the material.
So he's literally went on social media and go, what would you like to see?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen.
That you'd like to.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen. But what would you like? And and we'll listen and see what we can do. What we might do. That's awesome.
I like that he's also come back with, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So he's listening.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting over the next few years. Alrighty. For my news item, hey, did you remember that I had one? Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hope you're not tired of shared cinematic universes.
Oh, no.
Because now this is being thrown out by someone, so just take everything with a grain of salt. In an interview with Digital Spy, David Harbour, whose latest movie, Violent Night, is out right now, says he would like to have a Santa universe. Santa cinematic universe. And he wants to include in that Pedro Pascal to play the Easter Bunny and Oscar Isaac to play the Tooth Fairy. I just left everybody speechless.
Is grabbing Grant Morrison and have him write that story for them. That would be that'd be badass.
No.
And
didn't we have this movie once
Santa
before?
Claus.
We've had this movie before. It wasn't a huge hit.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was more kiddified, if that's the word I'm looking for. David Harbour, I think, wants to take it more into a Klaus Grant Morrison style Santa Claus, one that's Rambo and badass, and
Have you watched the movie yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
I thought the movie was supposed to come out on streaming, but they pushed the streaming back on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, but the day it comes out, everything I have seen looks right up my alley.
It looks fun. It really does. All the stuff I've seen on it looks fun.
Yeah.
Well, and they're comparing this. I don't know if this is a sequel to, but they're comparing it to A Christmas Horror Story, which I know I've told you guys several times about that one. And it was kind of a dark, fun twist movie, too. So I'm really excited to see that one.
So,
yeah, we'll see.
But yeah,
let's get everybody watching the movie first, and then we'll see if we need to turn it into a franchise.
Well, you know, this could have been something just, hey, let's just throw it out there and have a little fun, that kind of thing. But
and if anybody's going to do that, it's going to be Harbour.
Yeah,
and that's fine. That's actually one of the things that's fun about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I would love that if they would talk to Grant Morrison, at least pick his brain just a little bit, because he nails what David Harbour's wanting to do.
Come on.
You're talking to the biggest Klaus fan in the world, so
Yeah.
deaf ears, man.
You go.
But can you imagine Pedro in an Easter Bunny outfit?
Kicking somebody's ass?
I
Sure.
Yes,
could.
that would be great. Yeah.
Sure. I think you forget who you're asking that question of.
True.
We can imagine a lot of weird shit around here.
Yeah, true.
If it's gonna be like a twisted Santa Claus, I could see him as like a bunny man kind of Easter bunny. That would be.
Well, you want to kind of stay
That
away
would be
from Bunny
cool.
Man. Come on, we trademarks and copyrights and all that stuff. Come on.
Well, you could still have a slaughter bunny. I mean, we also got a stabby bunny and I can't remember the other one's name. But yeah, we've got a couple of bunny men,
Well, we also have a couple leprechauns too. So
Yeah.
Which may or may
Yeah.
not have been a good idea either. But anyway.
right. We didn't have an Uncle Sam. We want to do July 4th,
Right.
or is that too American? That may be
That's
too
way
American.
too American, yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd watch it
Oh,
at least
of course
twice.
you would.
You'd buy that?
and
For a
buy that
dollar
for
even.
$1. Yeah.
Right? Maybe even two. It would be a sequel.
So, well, we shall see.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's one that's more than a rumor, though.
Well,
And then
What-
I'll start my little petition.
I want to see the movie before I judge anything.
Right.
we can
True.
also bring the turkey from Thanksgiving. There you go.
Oh,
God.
my goodness. And his little bisexual worm. Don't forget that guy.
Garnish it with killer tomatoes.
Hey, now we're talking.
All right. Any special shout outs this week?
Not me.
No.
No?
Les?
No, nothing here.
Okay. I didn't want to leave you hanging there, so you decided to leave me hanging. That's fine. That's great. Thank you.
Sure. Anything way to help.
Had to make it awkward for more than just one of us.
Mhm. Okay, we'll move on to our regular shout-outs. Want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. There will be a link in the show notes where you can check them out. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who have been so gracious enough as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links on Twitter, and that is the Pottern family. The best way to check them out is to do a search, #Pottern family, all one word. So just scroll through the list, whatever catches your eye. Click on that link and download that episode, and we hope you have a good time listening. Thank you guys, as always. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. In our show notes, you'll find a link to where you can check out their music. Thank you guys, as always. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any comments, questions, complaints, observations, suggestions, what have you, please send them our way. Email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. If you join our Discord, we do have a channel specifically for feedback. You can post your thoughts there. On social media, we are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. We are on Instagram @Fellowship Geeks. We are now on Hive, same name @Fellowship Geeks, and @Fellowship Geeks is also our Twitter handle. So follow us there on all platforms. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you find our episodes, if you would take a couple moments to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate your support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,